Everyone, welcome to the Village of Woodbury Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for May of 2024. If you would all stand and join us in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let me introduce our board members to you. From my left, your right, we have Ms. Beverly Silvera, Mr. Michael Wozniak, Mr. Ed DeJesus, Ms. Rachel Bruce. I'm Craig Brady, and counsel to my right is Ms. Kelly Naughton. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, the 12th of June. We have no attorney-client session this evening. If I may ask the board for a motion to accept the minutes from our April meeting as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Rachel.
Second.
Second by Ed. Any discussion?
None?
All in favor?
Aye.
So passed. We have no new business this evening. Our first action is an action on decisions. This is for 26 Stainton Fairway. To review a decision requesting a variance for the construction of a roof over the front porch on a single-family dwelling, whereas pursuant to Section 310-36D2 and 310-7, the minimum front yard setback is 25 feet. The applicant is proposing 19.9 feet. Said property is located in the SH zoning district at 26 Stainton Fairway in Central Valley and is known in the Village of Woodbury tax maps as Section 255, Block 1, Lot 81. And if I can find the document. So after several pages of facts and findings, as a consequence of the board's discussions, the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby grants the requested area variance described and discussed above to the extent noted above, conditioned on the applicant's receiving all necessary permits from the building department, and hereby finds that the variance is granted is the minimum variance necessary to preserve and protect the character of the neighborhood. Per Section A316-9E of the Village Code, this decision shall expire if a building permit is not obtained by the applicants within 180 days from the date of this decision, or the date of final approval by the planning board if such an approval is required. The board may extend this time for one additional period of 90 days if such extension is warranted by the particular circumstances. Any discussion on this draft decision?
No.
No? No.
May I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Who made the motion?
Beverly.
Beverly with the motion. Second, I'll take Rachel for the second.
The motion is to approve the decision.
Correct. So I'll do a roll call. Beverly?
Aye.
Beverly is an aye. Michael?
Aye.
Aye. Ed DeJesus?
Aye.
Rachel?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So that draft decision is now approved and will be available.
I'll get it to you tomorrow for signature.
Very good. Thank you very much. So that concludes that particular item. I can close a tab. All right. Our next item is we go to public hearing section of our agenda. The first item is Speyside. This is a continuation of a public hearing for Speyside Holdings 2 LLC, requesting a special permit for the operation of a sand and stone quarry from 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday on property located in the R3A zoning district at 911 Route 32 in Highland Mills, and is known on the Village of Woodbury tax maps as sections and lots 201-1-9, 202-1-3.7, 202-1-5, 201-1-23, 201-1-51, and 203-1-8.21. So this is a continuation of a public hearing. The applicant is not able to be present and has not been able to get any additional information to us, so this will be continued to our July 10th meeting. We're going to postpone it for 60 days, but I will open the public hearing so that if anyone wishes to speak to the application, please go to the podium and feel free to make your comments. That mic is probably not turned on, if I had to guess.
Hello.
Yep, it is.
Glasses. Robert Hunter from Highland Mills. This will be part of the public record, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So, first of all, this is a community of people here. Mothers, fathers, kids, you know, we live here. We ought to be able to go out and enjoy the streets and roads for whatever reason, to walk, exercise, or just to get from point A to point B. Well, I walk along Route 32 occasionally, and these days it's an exercise in fear and possible hearing damage from the amount of trucks that we have now. Extending the hours of operation for this plant is just going to make the situation worse. We get a little respite after 5 o'clock, but they're talking about working till 10 at night. I mean, that's just crazy. We already have dirt streaking along Route 32 for hundreds of feet. We have dust blowing off the trucks all the way down the road. We have them doing jake brakes. And, you know, it's just a mess. Not to mention additional diesel fumes. Now, the owners of the plant don't live here. The truck drivers don't live here. They don't know what goes on. But we do, and we have to live with the consequences of it. This quarry has been here before I was born, and I'm well north of 60. It's a moneymaker, and it's had several owners. So they don't need additional hours. And I just hope that this board understands that you're here to do what's right and best for the residents of Woodbury, not someone's bottom line. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak to this application? Just want to check the mic. I just want to make sure the mic
Sure.
is on.
Oh, sorry. I'm fine.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Sandia Torres. I live actually on Highland Woods Boulevard, which is right, my backyard is pretty much the quarry after that. Okay, so I got a notice in regards to the hearing with this, and I'm just curious in regards to, is it just a noise problem that we may potentially face? Or are they also moving forward? Because I know they have a property behind there, and I wasn't sure if this includes probably moving forward in the property. I guess it was just unclear in regards to what their plans were, besides just starting at 4:30 and ending at 10 o'clock. Because I know, you know, it is noisy already, and for my children to not have to worry about that, you know, 4:30 in the morning getting up before school, and then also at 10:30, there's a lot of people that work from home, just a lot of children that go to the school district, live on that street. And I just hope that, you know, Highland Woods and Scaglione is not forgotten in there, in that area, especially since we're so close to that quarry as well. I know that in the back of my property, after a while, it does become quarry property. We're not allowed back there. So I guess just my concern is just the noise that may occur in regards to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maria Hunter, Highland Mills. Living on Route 32 where this truck traffic will be going, has been ongoing, as my husband said, for many years. In regards to the application for a special permit, as the applicant has signed this, but he just put the month and the year, he didn't put a date on it. And he has his residence in Hopewell, New York. He doesn't live here. With that being said, in the 1997 ZBA approval, it states in there that you're supposed to be a resident. I'm just asking for, maybe the attorney can look this up to see if it's been changed since then, because this is all the information that was on the website tonight. It's on page 5, number 13. The within permit shall be effected only if applicant shall maintain a permanent resident of the town of Woodbury as the applicant's agent for receipt of all official notices. So to me, right there alone is a violation of this application, of this applicant. So maybe the attorney, I don't need an answer tonight. Also, and from 1997 ZBA decision, the hours of operation shall be listed to the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 p.m., Monday through Friday. There shall be no operation on weekends and official New York celebrated holidays, unless approved in advance by the Board of Appeals. I know all of you know this, but I want it to be heard by the residents. And then on page 7, number 22, the special permit shall be subject to on-site inspection by the administrator of the building department on the anniversary date of the special permit. And it goes on, there's other sections here that there's supposed to be annual reports, biannual. I guess I'll have to do a FOIL, or someone can find out if have they been done in the last 27 years. And I can see a shaking of head over there, so thank you.
I don't think we're aware.
No, we've looked, we are not aware. Part of the reason that this application is actually before this board is due to violations of the prior special permit.
Okay,
So
so-
hopefully some of those items,
Perfect.
we're waiting for information to
I figured
rectify
that's-
and
yeah.
fix the discrepancies.
And then, I know I brought up last time, the planning board has what's called an entity disclosure form, any corporation or LLC, and I'm going to ask this again, how come this form has not been requested or put on to the site for the ZBA? Because I thought within New York State, any LLCs should be notified and listed as owners of properties. So I'm just curious as to what, maybe it's a question for tomorrow night's meeting.
Well, we've asked for that to be submitted when they give us their next submission as well.
Okay, I thank you, thank you, because I
reviewed
know
that?
you're very good about that.
Yeah, thank
So, but I'm just concerned about these operations and also his, his short EAF form. It's not signed. So I'm just up here because it seems, I know this is a quasi judicial board and you have to go about what the violations are, but if the owner of the property doesn't even have the decency to come back before this board with the violations issued, and it's been quite some time because these go back to December. Maybe it's time that we have to ask the village board to get the building inspector to shut him down, because I don't like spending $12 to get my car washed and coming back home past the quarry, and they don't even clean up their dust and dirt, which is mandatory. I know it's mandatory because it was on the planning board. They had to keep the dust down, and they're not even doing that for people who are traveling and people who live right there, as such as the dirt flows through the air. It goes down to Highland Woods Boulevard, down to 32, and it's just become a nuisance because I have to call the state again because the pothole has emerged again in front of my house, and these trucks going southbound, when they hit this pothole, I think a truck is having an accident or something. It's a nuisance. And I know it's been there for years, but I mean, if you're going to live here, if you're going to operate here, you need to know how we survive here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak to this application? If not, may I have a motion to continue the public hearing until our July 10th meeting?
Make the motion.
Motion by Rachel,
Second.
second by Michael. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Our next application is Chipotle signage. This is a continuation of a public hearing requesting an area variance for the construction of 2 wall signs from Village Code, Chapter 310, Attachment 11, relative to the number of wall signs permitted in the IB district. Said property is located in the IB zoning district along Losey Lane in Central Valley and is known in the Village of Woodbury tax maps as Section 225, Block 1, Lot 34.1. Is the applicant present? Please, if you'd introduce yourself and give us an overview.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening.
You can take that out if it's easier.
Yeah,
Might be weird.
it is
You don't want to
easier.
hurt
Hello. Check. Thank you. Good evening. This is for Chipotle. My name is Matt Calvo. I'm an applicant for this project. I'm here on behalf of the company fabricating the signs. We already have approval and permit for one of the 2 signs, so I'm here tonight to request the same sign be installed on a additional side elevation. Thank you. Any questions?
So the 2 signs will be identically sized,
Yes.
identically backlit,
Yes.
they're identical in all respects. Let's cut it short. And I don't think I have anything else. Anyone else on the board have any questions for the applicant?
What are the dimensions of the signs? Might be missing it because I don't see it.
They're 45.8 square feet, so 46 square feet. They're 15 feet 3 7/8 inches wide and 2 foot 11 inches high.
Okay.
11 7/8 inch.
Thank you.
Basically 3 by 15.25.
Okay.
Wait, I'm sorry. So you said 40 by 45.8 by 8 or 45.6 or?
45.8 square feet.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, question. In
Yes.
the placement of these signs, one is going in the front of the building
And one on the side, correct?
on the Losey sign or side, or?
So it's, since the lot's not really developed yet, the Losey side is where we already have a permit.
Okay, so
It's
you,
going towards facing like Route 6, is that, or 17? 6,
all right, so 6 is the one you're seeking now.
correct. There's like a site plan. And this is Losey. This is the sign there. And this is the sign we're seeking.
So you have the corner of that building, right?
Correct.
So you want one on what I'll call the south-facing
Yeah.
side and one on the east-facing side.
West facing. According to this.
East. It's got to be east, yes. Facing the mountain is east.
Yeah, so that would be the 6.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe,
Route 6.
maybe this map is turned around and there's no north arrow here.
That should be the front of it.
Great. You guys have a site plan though, right?
Yes. Anything else from the board?
Nope, I'm good.
Good. Okay. So, public hearing, correct. So I will open this up to the public. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone from the public wishing to speak to this application?
Once again, Maria Hunter. I personally don't have a issue with this because the one that's facing the south side, it's Losi Lane, that's the entrance into this facility, and facing 17 to Route 6, I have no problem. It's way up on the hill, and there aren't residents impacted immediately. It's a commercial area, and if it's the building, it's the first building on the right-hand side, correct?
Correct.
I mean, and it's catty-cornered, so I have no problem with that. I drive by there every day, Monday through Friday, and the people are, it's there. They're not going to worry about it. It'll probably be much nicer than the sign that's out on Larkin Drive.
Thank you, Maria. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak to this application? Very good. If not, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Beverly, second by Rachel. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Do we want to do them now, or
Might as well.
might as well do it now? Okay. So this is a situation where we have to do secra because and an uncoordinated review. So I will make a motion to declare this a type 2 action under, no, sorry.
Assume lead agency status for an
Correct.
uncoordinated review.
Thank you. I got the first part of it right and then blew it. So I will make a motion to have the ZBA assume lead agency status for an uncoordinated review.
Second.
Second by Ed. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, carried. Let's find the form.
Type is unlisted.
So I might as well make the motion. Motion to declare this an unlisted action under secra. I have a second by Rachel. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Carried. And we'll review the section. So there are a few that we might want to consider. Most of them are pretty straightforward. These are no or small impacts may occur as checked by the applicant. And we just have to concur or disagree if that be the case. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? Since we're talking about signage here, they check no or a small impact may occur. Do we agree or disagree?
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
So this is the SEAF Part 2. This is actually something that I prepared for you based on their Part 1. So my practice, as this board knows and for the public, is any little arrows on the right-hand side indicate a potential small impact rather than no impact. So as the chairman's going through them, there's only 3 that I indicated might have a small impact. So those 3 you can continue to discuss, see if you agree or not. It's up to you. Those were just my suggested responses.
Thank you, Kelly.
I can explain why if you have any questions, but they're pretty straightforward, as you said.
In the case of signage, they are. I
Yeah.
think.
You don't get them that simple.
That's correct. The next one that was suggested is item 3. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? And we are saying no or a small impact may occur. Thoughts, comments?
I mean, it's a commercial area. I mean, there was, prior to this, there was motel.
Mike?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh. I did this last time where I thought I was referring to Mr. Wozniak. I mean, this is a commercial area, and prior to this, there was, a motel there. So, even though it was years ago. So, for those who
Anyone else?
remember.
Yep. Anyone else?
I concur.
So we all agree?
Yes. Yes.
Very good. Item 8, will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? And we're saying no or small impact.
It's new construction in a commercial zone area. There's no historical area there.
Yeah, I don't believe
I believe
there's any
I don't know of any.
archaeological impact.
No, it got pulled up by the EAF mapper as a trigger, or as a automated response as yes, that, it could potentially, but as you've noted, it's a completely disturbed site already, and this sign is not actually disturbing anything additional. So,
Good, so we concur?
Yes.
Very good. So,
a motion to adopt the SEAF Part 2.
so
I'll make that motion.
Second.
motion by Ed, second by Michael. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried.
Motion to issue a negative declaration.
And a motion to issue, I will offer a motion to issue a negative declaration under SECRA.
Second.
Second by Ed. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. And I think that's it for that particular. We'll discuss the 5 factors afterwards.
Yes, I just want to note that the GML came back as a local determination.
Correct. Thank you. So you can, oh, he left. Okay. I don't have to tell him he can leave.
Well, if he comes back.
If he comes
we'll tell him.
back, we'll tell him he can stay or not. Back to my agenda if I can find it. Here we go. Our next item is a public hearing for 54 Heather Ridge. This is requesting a temporary special permit for the use of a portion of the existing dwelling as a dwelling unit for additional family members. Whereas pursuant to Section 310-35, a temporary special permit may be granted by the Zoning Board of Appeals for an additional dwelling unit for the use of family members in accordance with certain requirements. The application also is requesting a variance from the minimum lot area for an existing single-family dwelling due to the proposed increased intensity of the dwelling unit for the use of family members. Whereas pursuant to Section 310-7, the minimum lot area is 43,560 square feet, and the applicant has 36,719.2 square feet. Said property is located in the R1A zoning district at 54 Heather Ridge in Highland Mills and is known on the Village of Woodbury tax maps as Section 251, Block 1, Lot 19. Applicant present? Hi, welcome. And like everyone, we would advise you to take the mic out and hold it. It's much better that way.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nerlin Alcindor, and I've been living at 54 Heather Ridge since 2003. And I had my daughters who live with me, and then now they wanted, the one that living with me right now, she wants to have her own private area, so that's the reason I'm asking for the dwelling of mother-daughter.
Okay. Questions from the board?
Are there going to be any changes to the actual physical building or just internal?
Internal, and then I was thinking of putting, right now there is a door to the back where you could get out of the property, and then I was thinking of putting a door on top by the garage door.
Just
That's-
adding a door just to go to the...
Yes, just to go down. Yeah, because the space was already made. When they were building the house, they asked me if I wanted to, but at that time I find it was too expensive. I told them no, which I'm very regret about it because now it's gonna cost me a little bit more. But there is just to create an entrance for winter time. When it's
Okay.
winter time, we don't have to go through the grass and then to the back.
Makes sense.
And I believe that's on the plans
Yes.
that we received, so yeah.
And there would only be an addition of one bathroom, or is the bathroom pre-existing?
There's already a bathroom there. That came in with the house when it was built.
All right. Do you plan on doing any additional work to the bathroom?
No.
Okay.
No.
And I have to find, there it is.
I had received information or reached out through the building department to your, I think, surveyor to get some additional information regarding the existing bulk requirements that you have. And I just wanted to confirm that the maximum building height is 35 feet that you have now, that you're not doing any exterior renovations to exceed 35 feet.
No.
Okay. That's perfect answer.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Would it just be your daughter living there, or would anybody else?
My daughter.
Okay.
And this is not an area variance, so we don't have to find
The minimum lot area. Right under the blue table.
that. Technically, it's there. Okay. So we're looking at, for the board, we're looking at essentially a variance for the minimum lot area is required to proceed with this. But it's an pre-existing non-conforming scenario because it's in that development and it hasn't changed. So I guess that's it. I'll open it up to the public. Anyone from the public wishing to speak to this application? Thank you. With no one looking for any commentary on this application, I'll accept a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion?
Motion,
I got Rachel, then Beverly.
Rachel and Beverly, exactly. We have. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. So. I'll have to look for the 5 factors. Did they fill it out?
They're I don't know.
I don't know if that was provided or not.
Don't think it was because it was initially thought that it only required the special permit.
Okay.
Do we have to extend it until we receive that, or can we just?
No, you can discuss them yourself with them.
Yeah, I don't think there's an issue there. Okay. So you're free to stay. We'll discuss and deliberate it at the end of the meeting. Okay? Thank you. And I'll close that and go back here. Our next item on the agenda is a public hearing for 50 Heather Ridge. This is a public hearing requesting 2 variances for the construction of a 400 square foot addition and a new deck onto an existing single-family dwelling. Whereas pursuant to Section 310-7, the minimum lot area is 43,560 square feet, and the applicant has 34,463 square feet, and the minimum side yard setback is 30 feet. The applicant is proposing 21 1/4 square feet. Said property is located in the R1A zoning district at 50 Heather Ridge in Island Mills, and is known on the Village of Woodbury tax maps as Section 251, Block 1, Lot 17. Mr. Hartman, I see you're present. Welcome.
Welcome. Good evening. Larry Hartman, Hartman Design, representing the applicant, the client. As you described it, it's going to be we're proposing a 400 square foot addition to the basement and to the first floor. As well as this addition is going to be in place where the existing deck is. So we're proposing a new deck to the left of it, back of the house. Basically, as we said, there's our two. The lot is in a pre-existing, which means it's smaller than what the zoning requires today. The addition, the whole house is also encroaching the existing setbacks, which means it's less than 30. But with the addition, it's going to be only 20. It's going to be only 21 feet. Without the addition, existing house is around 25 feet.
Questions from the board?
Yeah. One, you said 400 square feet plus replacing the deck.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the addition is 400, give me just 1 second. Let me see if that 400 square feet includes both floors. So it's going to be 18 by 20, yeah, it's 18 by 20, that's 400 square feet, yeah.
Okay. So on the cost paper, it says 300,000. I'm just a little curious.
It may be a little bit on the higher side,
Yeah.
but it's going to be a sukkah, that's a little bit expensive. And it's going to be a 2-story high, which might be a little bit expensive. And if you do low, then they're not happy, because the permit fees and everything goes by price. So I just try to be extremely fair and be conservative about it.
And this will be used for living space?
Yeah, just
or-
one large room. It's a large living room. It's going to be a 2-story high living room with a bunch of windows, obviously, and a religious sukkah roof on top, which operates for the holiday of Sukkot. So it's like a removable. It opens up for a religious purposes.
And this will be for the residents, the homeowners?
Yeah. So it's going to be. It's completely open. It's completely open to the kitchen. So it's basically off the kitchen. If you take a look at
Yeah,
the floor
but
plans.
for the residents,
Yeah,
the
of course.
homeowners. The homeowners.
Yeah, homeowners,
use
of course. Yeah.
Anyone else?
It's a second story because you have a roof that opens and closes as needed, correct?
So basically, you can't have any floor above it.
Okay.
So that's the way it works with the sukkah. But since there's anyway no floor, he's doing it a full 2-story high. So it's a grand room, obviously. It's
Okay, so
off the
it's going to be a
kitchen
big
and
high
it's-
ceiling, in other words?
Yeah.
Okay.
The height of the ceiling doesn't reflect it. So it goes up 2 stories, full 2 stories.
Got it, thank you.
You can't build a bedroom or anything above it anyway. So.
This is more of a question for Kelly. So obviously the roof, excuse me. So obviously the roof opens up and that creates a bit of space going up. What categories have fallen into? Because typically sometimes we look at different things have to do with additions. We look at how tall it's going to be. Does this fall into that? 'Cause it's a bit of a unique scenario.
I mean,
Closed roof, it would still have to be 35 feet.
yeah, it can't exceed the 35 feet, open or closed.
Okay.
So is that,
It doesn't go higher than the
it doesn't
ridge.
go higher if it's,
The way it works is, just to explain a little bit, there's multiple ways of doing it, but this particular one has an A roof, and it has just two scalas this side, 2 scalas this side, and it just opens up like that. But the hinges is on the bottom, so it never goes above.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Thank you for clarifying. Okay.
It's a good question.
Thanks.
Why technically?
I wasn't sure how it opened either.
Yeah, I think I've seen them driving along, I guess 105, some of the homes right off of there have that. Is that the same type of thing
Yeah,
that you're talking about?
yeah.
Okay.
Basically, it's a lot more to it. Just it has to work by air, not by electric.
Yeah.
Because you can't. It's only you use it only in the holidays, so
Yeah.
you can't use it. Hydraulic.
Oh,
So basically by air. Yeah.
I see. Great, thank you.
So one other, on the application, there's on number 15, the impact on animals, habitat. This is a state or federal government. Does that fall under SECRA?
So I think you're referring to the short EAF Part 1 that was provided.
Yeah.
As I said on the prior application, when you use the EAF mapper, which every applicant does now that it's available, it has automatic responses. And for question 15, if there were any threatened or endangered animals, they have indicated, or the DEC has indicated that there is the northern long-eared bat and the timber rattlesnake. That doesn't mean that it's in this specific 400 square foot area, but that they have been found somewhere within a radius of this property. For this application, I will tell you,
It's not an issue.
well, first, it's a type 2 action, so it automatically assumes that there are no significant adverse environmental impacts, but also the house is already existing, so putting on 400 square, there's not going to be any You're not taking down any trees?
No,
for this?
no, there's no trees.
Okay, so there's no, there would be no impact then on the northern long-eared bat, and the timber rattlesnakes are not going to live in a developed area. They don't like people, really. I mean,
you don't want.
Well, they don't live like, they shouldn't be living up against the house. Are there any bedrock
It's
outcrops up there?
They wish there would be trees, but it's all
It's-
cleared out.
okay.
It's what they built it.
Okay, so if the property did have some bedrock outcrops on it, something like that, then there may be a possibility for their little caves, because they like to lay on those.
Yeah.
But in any case, under secret, it's considered a type 2, so you don't worry about it.
Thank you.
So what are the actual, you're saying it's 18 by 20? Is that what I heard?
If I look at the
Because the plans that were
plans
provided.
with the round, with the red clouded, so it's 18 the inside, which means it's the 19 the outside, and it's 26 and a half, which means it's 21, because the existing, one of the walls is already within same as the, so it's basically going out to the back 21 feet, and going out to the side is 19 feet, including the exterior walls.
Do you have the dimensions of the proposed deck?
Nope. But I believe that doesn't affect any setbacks or anything.
No, I'm just asking in case I have to write something out.
They missed it. Let me see if it is on the other plan. Wait 1 second. No, it's not on the plan.
Yeah, yes. Send them an email.
So with,
Well,
I'll
it's
have,
clearly defined till the end of the addition, to the back, and until the end of the house to the left side.
Okay, I'll probably send you an email later this week just to ask you to email me whatever that is.
Yeah.
the lot, again, as you mentioned, is pre-existing non-conforming.
Yeah.
Subdivision approval, cluster development as was originally done, so there were considerations done to have them be smaller lots in this context. I'm curious, with what looks like 177 feet out the back, why you wouldn't go out the back and keep it flush with the existing wall of the house, as opposed to increasing the encroachment, if you will, into the setback, and in other words, needing additional setback.
Basically, this is going to be, obviously, it's going to be a living room, so they wanted this amount of square footage, and doing it just narrow, reducing it from 18 feet to a 13 by 34 is just not the right dimension for a room like this. Belongs more of a square rather than a narrow wall. So the same square footage would be probably a 13 by 24 to 25, which is twice the length as the width, and which wouldn't just be ideally typically for that. I mean, also those obviously those skylights don't go 25 feet and all of that.
Okay, the replacement of the deck, will it be the same size?
No, they probably did not have a size this size. Let me just take a look at the survey. If you take a look at the first page, there's the survey of the deck. It was a little bit of a larger deck. but I would say it's definitely a little bit bigger. So that's, so the extension goes out the same width with the existing deck. If you take a look at where the existing deck was. And the next sheet, you'll see the proposed. It's probably a little bit bigger, but not too much bigger.
So the new structure is not getting past the current deck? It's being about the same size
Same
as the current
size
deck?
of the deck, yeah.
The current deck
Yes.
is. So in theory, you're not really taking up any more space, it's just
Yeah, we're
repurposing that section.
Yeah, purpose of that section.
Right now, that's an exterior wall. Yeah, it's no way to do it.
Okay.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Nope. No.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone from the public? I'll open the public hearing. Anyone from the public wishing to speak to this application?
Maria Hunter, forgive me, what is the side variance width supposed to be? Is it supposed to be 40 feet or?
30.
It's supposed to be 30.
30 feet in one, on R1A.
All right, so on the map, it's showing 40 feet, plus or minus a couple inches, 7 inches. With this new deck coming out, the stairway is going to the, along, if you look at the proposed deck, I forget what sheet number this is, the stairway coming off that deck, is that going to be encroaching within the 30 feet? It's not going to be any longer than 10 feet and 10 feet, the stairway. I just want to make sure, if you're doing a variance, that the one...
Based on scaling this, no.
Okay.
It shouldn't even be less than the 40 feet.
Right, okay, that's what I'm asking. And I can understand that the family wants, so it's saying 400 square feet, so it's just a basement and a first floor and an open ceiling to the roof. Okay. And with that being said, I know this is, you can put this a consideration. In looking at this, is all the glass windows, and I'm not sure if it's going to go back to the planning board or the building inspector, but can it be clearly stated non-glare glass? Because it'll impact the neighbors or anyone, because that whole development is supposed to be non-glare glass. So I just want to be clear about that, because it's on two sides. Because if you see it from the side of the building, according to this, you can see some of the roof and everything. And I'm not sure how much of these skylights or the roof itself is non-glare. So that's just something that I just noticed looking at the map. So I'm not sure if this board can do it, or if the building inspector, or where it's going.
If this board is interested, it's certainly something that would be considered a reasonable condition for the board to consider.
Yeah, I think that based on, and I neglected to think of this while you were still up there, Mr. Hartman. Are any of the other existing front side, any changes being made to the rest of the building? So existing windows, existing siding, it's all the same, and I presume siding's going to be done to match. Obviously, you wouldn't want to change it. I mean, you could do brick. I mean, some people might want to do that, but you're going to match everything. So yes, I think that is a reasonable condition for the non-glare, but I'm sure Mr. Hartman's aware of that. I think it might have even been mentioned somewhere as well. So.
Because it'll be in the rear of the house and then on the side of the house where it's encroaching within the side yard.
It's really only in the side,
So-
the right side, if you're looking down on the plan.
Yeah, because the way the one map looks, it shows it on you can see the side of the side of the house, you can see it, and there's a door underneath there with windows. So I just want to, because this development is very unusual. It took quite a few years to get approved, and there's very strict things up there that we've tried to keep going. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one question. Is there an HOA in this community? So,
Yes, there's an HOA. We did send them an email,
so
couple of
should
them,
shouldn't they be weighing in on these changes?
correct?
If I could just respond, they did provide correspondence with the HOA. However, this board actually governs. If there's any issues with the HOA, that comes after. So if this board says, yes, and these are the conditions, and then they apply to the ARB of the HOA, and the ARB has revisions, they are also subject to those. So then they would likely try and come back to make it consistent. But the HOA doesn't control, you do.
Also, additionally, we did.
You did provide the correspondence with
To
them.
HOA, and I believe it's now more than 30 or whatever days it's supposed to be, and they did not respond. They did respond, they did receive the inquiry, and if they have any comments, but they never responded
Alright.
with a.
So the process is first the HOA and then
No, the process
No.
is first here.
First.
Just some people get confused because they think, oh, I just need to get the HOA's approval, but then forget about the village. And from a legal perspective, the village is the most important, and then there's because that becomes a private matter.
Okay.
So you guys consider it first, and you have the full jurisdiction in that regard.
Thank you.
Well,
you.
Well said.
You're very welcome. I didn't give it to you, but the state did. It's so funny to me.
Very good. Yes, public hearing is open.
Hi, my name is Lee Blantz, and we have the next house, 48 Heritage, which we're going to be the closest, if affected, we're going to be the closest, but I have no problem with that. I'm fine with that, and there shouldn't be any problem to us from our side.
So facing their house that they want to put the addition on, you are left or right?
Right.
You're on the right
Right.
side.
So basically, we are closest contact to this extension,
So you're the one that's going to be the closest?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay.
and I'm fine with it. I don't see anything where it can have any trouble.
Very good. That's good to hear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else from the public wishing to speak?
Thank you, buddy.
I'll accept a motion to close the public hearing. Motion by Rachel, second by Beverly. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. So we will now move on to discussion on each of these.
Want to just keep going on this one?
Yeah, let's just keep going. Actually, let's get Ms. Alcindor out of the way, if we don't mind. That should be relatively straightforward. We did not receive, I don't think we received the 5 factors on that because it wasn't considered because of a special permit.
Correct.
So in this context, let me just go there. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, guys. And I probably closed it. 54, here we go. I hate this. Okay, so we'll consider the 5 factors. We didn't have this provided by the applicant because it wasn't determined to be needed really, but we'll go through them as part of our due diligence. Whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance.
No.
We all agree?
Yes. Yes, we agree, no.
We all agree. Whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance.
No.
It's all internal, so
Yeah.
we agree on that as well. Whether the requested area variance is substantial, again, pre-existing non-conforming lot, no extension, no exterior addition. I think
no
we can,
changes.
no changes, so
No
we
changes
can,
to the current property, so,
we can say no.
no.
No changes, okay,
Other than increasing the intensity by the temporary special permit.
correct. Whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental condition in the neighborhood or district.
No.
No.
All agree?
Agree?
We'll agree on no. And whether the alleged difficulty is self-created. So again, yes, it's self-created because they're applying for this, so we all agree on that. Does not prevent us from issuing this. Any other discussion on the,
So that is in regards to the area variance. You also need to review section 31035, which is the temporary special permit factors.
very good, I will read this verbatim.
That's perfect.
A temporary special permit may be granted by the Zoning Board of Appeals for an additional dwelling unit for the use of family members in accordance with the following. A, the additional unit may only be used for up to 2 additional persons directly related to the owners of the principal dwelling. It's your daughter and it's one person, correct? The single family, well, then it's 2, great.
That's a lot of pressure.
My
That's a lot of pressure.
And now it's on the record, you're gonna be on YouTube.
It's on public record now, too.
Parents would say the same thing, so.
My mom's the same way, don't worry.
The single-family dwelling may be expanded by up to 25%. You're not doing any expansion, so that doesn't apply. All bulk dimensional requirements in the zoning district in which the dwelling is located must be complied with, other than the one we just granted a variance for. They are in compliance. And in the event the property is either sold or the additional unit is vacated, the permit becomes null and void. The property shall be restored to its original single-family status, and permanent cooking facilities, stove, refrigerator, etc., shall be removed. The applicant property owner shall provide to the Zoning Board of Appeals the names of all persons who intend to occupy the additional unit. The homeowner and the intended occupants shall sign the special permit upon its approval by the ZBA. And all facilities are subject to an annual inspection by the building department.
That's it.
That's it.
Yep.
So I will offer a motion to ask council to render a draft decision for our review at our next meeting,
Second.
consistent with, I had to swallow, sorry. Consistent with our discussion here this evening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
That was Mike and Ed.
No one opposed, motion carried. You'll get it next month. Good.
And I hate to do this, but can I actually ask you your name so that I can type it in? Pamela, okay. Because you're gonna have to sign it too, so.
Single, so you know, it's a full public record now.
This is like a dating service.
Sounds like it.
Internal.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Hartman, we have to review.
Yep, come anytime. Second Wednesday of the month.
Bye-bye.
Yes.
Close that.
50 Heather Ridge.
Okay. I have to open it.
Spill the beans. She's single.
Okay, that's there. I'm gonna go with this. Do we have to do AF on this?
Do what?
We declared a type 2, so we
Yeah,
have to do that.
yeah.
Okay. I'll offer a motion for the 50 Heather Ridge application to declare this a type 2 action with no further review required.
I'll second.
Second by Rachel. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. We'll review the 5 factors, if I can find them.
And just so it's noted, there was no GML referral required for this application.
Why can I not find them?
Oh, they're there. Last
Yep, there it is.
teeny tiny
Okay.
print.
Will the granting of this variance produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or create a detriment to nearby properties? The applicant says no. It's just a 400 square foot addition, and I added that, my editorial comment, in the back.
I would agree. And
especially since we have this next door neighbor immediately to the right that would abut the property where the addition's being made, then it's fine.
Anyone else? We agree?
Agree, yeah.
Agree.
Okay, so we all agree on that. Can the benefit you seek be achieved by some of the feasible method other than the variance? No, the best place it should work layout and money-wise is the back of that location. To the question I asked about extending it, essentially, if it were not dealing with the bedrooms above, you might be able to, but you wouldn't be able to do something different with those upstairs. So I agree. Anyone else?
I agree as well. I mean, they're basically replacing the deck and put on like a little enclosure on top of it in existence, so not really changing too much of the foundation, the footprint, I should say. So I don't see a major problem with that.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Do we agree?
Yes.
How substantial is the variance you're requesting? Not substantial, just a small addition.
Agreed.
I think we can agree.
Agree.
Will the granting of the variance have an adverse effect on the or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district? No. A small addition, no increase in water or sewer.
Agree.
Agreed, yeah.
I think we agree on that as well. Is the alleged difficulty self-created? Yes.
Yes. So,
Thank you. We agree. The board agrees with that as well. Very good.
I'll make a motion to have attorney draft a decision based on our discussions.
Second, although I just want to make a quick note, if that's all right.
So, no, wait. I'll open it up for discussion.
Just a quick open up for discussion, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Just to make sure, as Ms. Hunter mentioned, to put a condition in about the no glare windows for the skylight.
Yes,
Windows.
and the chairman requested that it be the same or similar color for the
Okay,
installation.
great.
Which was already going to happen anyway.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. So motion by Ed, second by Rachel, I believe. And any discussion beyond that which we already had?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. Motion carried. With no other business to conduct.
Chipotle.
Oh, Chipotle. We do have to
Chipotle.
review Chipotle. Sorry. Thank you. I would have gone right over. I'll
Have a good
see you
night.
next month. Thank you. He disappeared.
He disappeared before his part was over.
He probably knew
That's
that
confusing.
it wasn't going to be. Where did I do with Chipotle? I probably closed it. Now I have to reopen it.
Well, while you're reopening, I'll just summarize. So the area variance here, so it's clear for the record, is that the applicant is asking for a second wall sign where they're permitted one, they're asking for permission to construct two. And the new sign will be identical in all respects to the sign that is permitted, and it's going to be 45.81 square feet, which also appears to comply with the 10% of the wall area limitation that's in the signage table, which is attachment 11 to chapter 310.
So we did SECRA.
You did
We're
SECRA.
done with that. That's taken care of. Let's look at their responses to the 5 factors. Will the granting of this variance produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or create a detriment to nearby properties? The applicant states, the granting of a variance to allow 2 signs will in no way impact the character of the neighborhood in a negative way. In fact, the building is newly constructed and a second sign will help better identify the establishment. The nearest residential property is located over 1,000 feet away.
I agree. It won't cause any major problems.
Yeah, it's commercial. I think several of the members of the board stated it's a commercial area, so
Yeah.
no impact there. I think, so consensus on agreement with the applicant? Yes?
Yes.
Good, thank you. Can the benefit you seek be achieved by some other feasible method other than the variance? Applicant states there's no other feasible method to add visibility to the site. A single sign is not feasible for a standalone commercial building.
Agreed.
General
Agreed.
agreement, okay. How substantial is the variance you're requesting? Applicant states this request is to simply add one additional sign on a different elevation. Standard sign design is typical to the Chipotle franchise and is modest in size. 2 signs will allow better visibility and for this new business in the area to thrive.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, he's saying a unnecessary mouthful, but the 2 signs are okay.
So basically, when you're considering it then in the totality of the circumstances, you don't view it necessarily as substantial, but it is doubling the amount that's permitted, so in that respect, it is substantial.
I mean, it is substantial, but it's not something we cannot grant anyway. There's no logical reason why we,
So
why we
let's
should.
take, sorry.
Go ahead.
Let's take this one step farther. The next vendor comes in and wants to do the same thing. Then what?
This decision would have precedence, so,
Yeah.
but we would try and make it unique so that this project is a corner building, so, or on the corner. So it would be on both facades that it has. It wouldn't be permitting something on the rear. Any other tenant that comes in for any of the buildings in Shops at Woodbury, or other similar facilities in the village on a corner would have the ability to ask for a sign, and your decision would be precedential to permit it, unless you have some other unique factor for this.
So there wouldn't be any special, let's say Chipotle moves out 5-6 years from now and someone else comes in, they wouldn't have to go before us, before this board again, they would just be able
They
to.
would just be able to put up their sign, their 2 signs.
Can there be some kind of condition that it has to be a certain size or it has to be standard? Because you could have, one regular size sign, then you could have a giant sign on the other side, which would obviously be a different situation.
Well, as part of the reason that the board is considering it, and that's a very good point, is part of the reason that the board is considering it because, as was raised by the chairman, it is completely identical in all respects to the other sign. So it's really just a almost directional sign when people come from a different direction.
Yeah.
Okay, then that's, you can definitely limit it on the fact that they are completely identical, there's no size change, there's nothing else, so that somebody wouldn't be able to come in and have one sign saying something and then another sign saying something totally different. They could come back before you, but you would at least have some reasoning or further conditions that you would then consider for somebody else.
All right, thank you. And is it possible also to set a maximum space that would be able to take up as well?
So the sign.
Sorry, in the code, all right.
Says that
Excuse
it
me,
can't be
sorry.
more than 10% of the wall area, so that'll be carried forward in here, and the size of the sign that they are proposing is consistent with what's permitted by the code, so that's not an additional variance. that you're-
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Okay.
That finding ways to make this unique is helpful, I believe.
I agree, and that's why I asked that.
So
But Rachel is a very good point.
both Rachel and
And
Beverly,
Beverly.
thank you. Good points. Where am I? Will the granting of the variance have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district? The applicant states the granting of a variance to allow 2 signs will only serve to beautify the neighborhood and better ensure the new business to succeed.
I don't agree with the word beautified neighborhood.
Me, you don't love a giant, pepper just in the distance?
Yeah, I don't actually agree with the word beautified, but
As a
I don't
room-
see it cause any negative effect to the neighborhood or anything like that. It's a commercial zone.
Yeah.
One side is facing the front, the other side is facing a highway, basically.
Yeah.
So it's
So we're agreeing with the applicant, although disagreeing
Agree with
about
his wording.
beauty.
Yeah, exactly.
His wording, we're saying that it will not have an adverse effect on the neighborhood.
yes, I agree with
Yeah.
that statement.
Very good, thank you. Is the alleged difficulty self-created? Applicant says no, the building code only allows a single sign to be displayed. We all disagree because we know that
Yeah.
if
Everything's self-created.
it's that, so it's, yeah, just one, and we'll grant you another one in the context here. So, any other discussion on Chipotle?
Let's
Except
No.
the fact that they're raising the prices, but that's not in this board's purview.
Not particularly relevant for our discussion. I'll make the motion to request council to prepare a draft decision for our next meeting consistent with the discussions held this evening.
Second.
And let me just add to that before the second, with the conditions that we mentioned specifically. Second by Beverly. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. With no further business, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All in favor?